Reed Sheppard has looked well worth the 3rd overall pick throughout the NBA Summer League so far. And while you should never overreact to Summer League performances because they don't always indicate future success in the NBA, absolutely nobody should be surprised by what he's been doing. If you look at his college numbers, he had some decent box score production, 12.5 points, 4.1 rebounds, and 4.5 assists, and this was while coming off the bench for the majority of the season. He had good stats. It's nothing too mind-blowing though. What is mind-blowing is the fact that Reed Sheppard had a true shooting percentage in college of 69.9%, which would make sense if he were a primarily paint-oriented slasher or maybe a rim-running big man, but he's a 6'3" jump-shooting guard. It's kind of tough to evaluate Sheppard from a college perspective because when you look at the context of his 1 year in college, there really was only so much that you could take away from it. He was coming off the bench for a very talented Kentucky team, and he was playing alongside a high-volume creator in Rob Dillingham, as well as a seasoned college veteran in Antonio Reeves. It's actually pretty wild when you look at the shot distribution for Kentucky last year and see that Reed Sheppard, despite playing the 3rd most minutes per game and being the most efficient scorer on the team, was attempting the 4th most shots per game. And even more wild is when you look at the usage rates for Kentucky's roster. Reed Sheppard clocked a usage rate of only 18%, putting him at 7th in usage rate on that team. Now, I know that usage rate is a little bit of a flawed metric for evaluating a player's involvement in their team's offense, but all of these numbers paint a picture that Reed Sheppard was kinda underutilized in college, and that might even be a bit of an understatement. Now that we're seeing him operate in Summer League as a primary ball handler and offensive engine, it's clear that he can do a lot more than what he was given the opportunity to show on a consistent basis during his time in college. He spent a good amount of time operating in more of an off-ball role, and don't get me wrong, he was elite as a spot-up shooter. He recorded 1.5 points per possession on spot-ups, and that was in the 100th percentile of college basketball. I think it's great that he got the opportunity to showcase how automatic of a player he is in a more supporting role. His catch-and-shoot prowess is the kind of stuff that secures you a long-term career in the NBA. The distance at which he's capable of knocking down catch-and-shoot shots is going to have major implications for Houston's spacing because, to Sheppard, there's really no such thing as a shot being too far. If the defense surrenders that space to him, he's going to punish them no matter the distance. And I'm a really big fan of the speed of his release. Not only do you have to be efficient off the catch, but almost equally as, if not more important, is being able to be efficient off the catch fast. Hitting spot-up threes at a high rate doesn't mean as much if your release is slow and you give the defense plenty of time to recover after helping off of you. You have to be able to pull the trigger quickly and make the defense pay, and that's exactly what Reed Sheppard is capable of doing. But in Summer League, it's been a lot less about what Sheppard has been doing off-ball and a lot more about what he's been doing on-ball. There were plenty of flashes and signs of his on-ball ability during college. I don't want it to seem like this is stuff that we had never seen before. But now that we've seen him do it at the college level in flashes, and then now he's doing it in Summer League, it makes me feel like the Rockets are probably going to lean into the strengths that he has as an on-ball creator more now that he's in the NBA. He recorded 80 possessions as the pick-and-roll ball handler during college. It looks like he's going to be a very capable pull-up three-point shooter when defenses aren't treating him with the respect that he deserves coming off of those ball screens. And that really solid ball handling ability that he has is going to allow him to create advantages, either to score for himself or create for his teammates. The Rockets have been letting him operate as the primary, and I like how he's been utilizing ball screens to create lanes for himself to drive. Here, Carrington switches, and George is going to try and deny that left side drive, but Sheppard attacks the space, manages to get by the nail help, and he beats Sarr waiting for him in the paint with this nice floater. On this possession, he gets the screen to go to his left, and he's really patient with his drive, giving his roller enough time to get moving downhill to keep Sarr honest, while making sure to keep his defender on his hip, and he uses this little pull-up jumper to catch his defender by surprise, He's done a good job punishing mismatches as well, getting the screen to force the switch by 𝙬𝙬, and 𝙬𝙬 overcommits just a little bit on the initial step up, and Sheppard capitalizes with the mid-range pull-up, which is something that you're going to see quite a bit from him. He's going to abuse drop coverage with these easy pull-ups off of screens. Here, he doesn't get the look that he wants on the initial screen, so he waits for the second one so that he can get going to his right, losing his defender and being left with a practice shot against the weak drop coverage. He goes to the mid-range again on this play, getting the curl off of this weak side stagger action, and he flashes some tough shot-making ability to knock down the shot at the elbow against really tight defense. During college, he shot 52.8% on dribble jumpers inside the arc, which is fantastic efficiency at any level of basketball. This mid-range ability is going to be a big avenue for Sheppard to punish defenses. Teams are going to have to try and sell out on preventing him from getting good looks from three. A byproduct of that is potentially going to be surrendering mid-range looks to him. And if he can hit them at a high rate like he did in college, then defenses are going to have their hands tied. The other big piece of the puzzle for Sheppard as a scorer is going to be, how does his finishing ability develop in the NBA? He shot 59% at the rim during college, which definitely isn't bad, and he's got plenty of room to grow. I think he showcased some craftiness as a finisher, and although he's not the greatest straight line athlete in the world, I think his functional handling ability is going to open up some possibilities for him in terms of getting to the basket and finishing at the rim. But how is he going to be able to deal with contact, things like that? That's what I'm going to be keeping an eye on. Where we're going to see the biggest difference in terms of his play style as far as going from college to the NBA is that although he did operate as a point guard sporadically at times with the University of Kentucky, I think we're probably going to see him operating in more of a point guard role more in the NBA. He did a great job when it came to the simple stuff like making the extra pass or hitting guys coming off of a weak side action to hit them in stride and set them up for easy buckets. But a lot of this stuff really doesn't showcase his playmaking ability, more so just his ability to make the right pass. He's a very good passer, but I think we're going to see a lot more from him as a playmaker when he's operating in a more on-ball role. He's a capable driver of the basketball, and the scoring prowess that I've showcased throughout this video means that defenses are going to have to bring that extra attention when he's driving, and he's very conscious of that and capable of manipulating defenses to generate good looks for his teammates. His ball handling ability, while it's not anything flashy, is very, very functional, and there's pretty much zero wasted movement. Everything that he does, every time he dribbles the basketball, it's all very much done with intention. On this high pick and roll, he uses the screen to draw that initial help off of the strong side corner, recognizing that this leaves Whitmore without a set of eyes on him, so he dribbles middle to keep the defense focused, allowing Whitmore to make the backdoor cut, and Reed's going to find him for the slam. They've got an initial numbers advantage here, so he's going to drive off the catch, leaving Carrington in a really tough situation in a 2-on-1, and Sheppard stays committed to the drive to get Carrington in the air before dumping it off to the dunker spot for the finish. In this spread pick and roll situation, he drives and does a good job keeping his defender on his hip, getting to the paint to keep the defense pulled in, and then he uses this subtle head fake to keep them over focused. Then he makes it look like he's going to hit the pass up top, but instead he slings it to the more open man in the corner, leading to an open catch and shoot look. Obviously, Sheppard is going to be playing alongside other guys who need on-ball reps, so it's kind of tough to say right now how much time he's going to be spending operating as a high-usage guy from day one. I imagine they're probably going to have him come off the bench starting out, and I could definitely see him being the lead ball handler off the bench, or at the very least, a secondary handler alongside another one of their young guys. Now, once again, I'll reiterate, it's just Summer League. We don't want to overreact too much to these performances because they don't always translate to NBA success. But what we've seen from Sheppard, not just in Summer League, but throughout his career so far, makes it really hard to imagine that he doesn't, at the bare minimum, have a very long career ahead of him in the NBA and even star potential. Really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, I'd appreciate it if you considered leaving a like and subscribing. It seriously helps me out so much. Regardless, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.